Hello, this is Bad Vibes. Today's video are 4 online dating stories, which seem to be popular on this channel, so I hope you enjoy. If you have a weird, creepy, or scary online dating story that you would like me to read on my channel, please send it in at badvibe760@gmail.com. The link is in the description. Please hit the like button and sit back, relax, and enjoy. I just need to type the story out because it is still so unbelievably so real to me that I can't even believe it's real. Not sure if this is the right subject to be posting this, but hopefully it applies. So last fall, I started using dating apps seriously because I really wanted to branch out and meet new guys. I moved home after I graduated in May, which was still in the pretty early stages of COVID, so I was lonely. I had only ever used Tinder, so my friend told me that I should try Bumble, and at first, it was fun. I matched with a few guys, and they were nice, but the convos kinda died off after a while. I didn't really form a real connection with anyone on there. One of the guys I matched with asked for my Snapchat, which I gave him so we could talk on there, and we followed each other on Instagram. That kind of stuff is harmless to me, and I didn't really think much of it. Our convos didn't last long, and we stopped talking after just a few days. He was a little strange, and I was turned off by it. Fast forward a couple months, and I get a message from him on Instagram. He told me that he unfollowed me because of my support for Joe Biden during the election, and then proceeded to spam me with over 40 messages trying to convince me to change my views and vote for Trump. I'm a very liberal person, and if I would have known he was like this, I would have never spoken to him. He kept telling me how people have blocked him before for doing this, and to please understand where he's coming from. His last few messages were memes to ease the tension on the one-sided convo. He and I never talked long enough for him to feel comfortable messaging me like that. I didn't respond, I didn't even block him. I opened the messages so he could see that I saw them, and then unfollowed him. The next morning I got a notification telling me, "This message has been unsent by the sender," for every single message. Of course, I screen recorded it and sent it to my friend to tell her what happened because it was creepy and bizarre. It was over after that though, and the topic of this guy didn't come up again, so I moved on. A few weeks ago, I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw a post by a local news station that was shared from the town that this guy was from in my state that's about an hour away from me. It was a news article about a guy who shot and killed an 87-year-old woman who lived in his apartment complex with a semi-automatic rifle. He was trying to get other residents out of their apartment until he was shot and killed as well by a resident in order to protect the others who lived there. As I was reading about this guy, the guy's name and face seemed so familiar, and then it clicked. It was the same guy. I went back to the screen recording of the messages I took a few months ago, and they confirmed it was him. I'm not sure how to describe what my response was, but I got really sweaty and my heart was racing when I made the realization. It's extremely disturbing to know that I spoke to this man and even had a weird experience with him. It's been a few weeks since I found out and I still feel weird about it. I was just reading about it today since more details have been reported since the initial shooting. Sometimes I think about the what ifs. Like, what if I responded to the messages the way I wanted to and called him a creep and a weirdo and pissed him off to the point of violence and he tried to harm me? God, I hope the woman he unfairly murdered is resting in eternal peace. Thank you for reading. If you made it this far, be wary of people on dating apps. So, I'm 23 and live in California. Last year I decided to use Tinder for the first time. I had previously used Hot or Not and Plenty of Fish, but mostly just got bots and scammers, so I already wasn't very big on online dating. However, I was feeling bored on a Friday afternoon, so I decided to install Tinder and just see what happened. After creating an account, I began swiping people, and it wasn't more than a half hour later after I got off the app that I was matched with someone. For a little context, I'm what you call bisexual, and I matched with a 25-year-old dude named Aiden. Aiden was what I would call attractive, and he had similar interests in gaming and coding. I decided to go ahead and send him a message, but before I could even send one, he sent me a message. The message read, "Hey, saw you new on Tinder and thought I'd reach out to say hi." I said hi back, and the two of us began talking about our love of video games, movies, and coding. He told me that he was a full-time coder and makes a salary only working 4 hours a day. He asked me if I would be down to chill with him sometime. I then offered to have him over at my house because I was alone and he lived with his parents. He seemed very excited all of a sudden and said that he would love to come over. We agreed on him coming over in an hour so that I could tidy up my room and get my PC ready for gaming. After about an hour or so, I sent him my address and he said that he was on his way. Now normally, I wouldn't have invited someone to my house that I'd never met before, but this guy seemed harmless and he was attractive, so I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. I heard a knock on my front door and looked out the peephole and saw it was Aiden. He had a little bottle of red wine in his hand and a smile across his face. We hadn't discussed drinking wine together, but I did in fact like red wine, and the brand that he had with him happened to be my favorite brand. I opened the door and greeted him. I told him that wine was my favorite and asked him if he was a mind reader. He laughed it off and said I just strike him as a red wine guy. I asked him how he planned on getting home if he ended up drinking too much, and he said that he Ubered to my house. We ended up having a couple glasses of wine on my back patio and just talked about life, work, and shared our coming out stories. After the wine, we went inside to play on the PC and had a blast. After the gaming, he showed me his laptop, which he had brought with him to show me his work. Eventually, I had to use the restroom, so I excused myself to pee. I then heard him approach the bathroom door, turn the knob. Because I didn't lock the door behind me, he just came right in completely unannounced and without warning and just started grinding me from behind while forcefully grasping my shoulders. I shoved him off of me and just kind of jokingly said, "That's a bit intrusive," and he just smiled at me and said, "I just wanted to see how you would react." I left the bathroom and walked into the kitchen with him walking right behind me. I asked him if he wanted more wine or maybe some water, but before I could grab the water bottles from the fridge, this dude pushed himself against me and groped my private parts while smiling at me super creepily. This time, I was completely taken aback. I shoved him off of me forcefully and yelled at him. I told him that we just met and I didn't think it was right time to just jump into something sexual. He said that I was just a waste of time and that I had no idea what I was doing, and I gave gays a bad name, then said I was being homophobic. I told him that if I was homophobic that I would not be hanging out with him and talking the way we were, and that I found him attractive, but he was crossing major boundaries. He just laughed and said, "In the gay community there are no boundaries," and then just like that he said he had to go. Thank God, I thought to myself. I walked him to the front door and he walked out without saying goodbye or anything. I didn't think anything else of it and decided I needed to take a shower. I got into the shower and after about 15 minutes into the shower I kept hearing a tink sound coming from the other end of the door. I peek out through the sliding glass door of the shower and look down towards the bottom of the door. To my shock, I see Aiden holding a freaking spoon to the bottom of the door, looking in at me while I was showering. I can only see this because of how high off the floor the door sat. Not knowing what to do, I just pretended I didn't notice and slowly turned the shower off. I got out, wrapped a towel around my waist, and prepared to confront him by yanking the door open. Before I could do that, I heard him snap a picture on his phone. I flung the bathroom door open and he flew down the hall out my front door. I saw him getting into a white Honda Civic and drive away. He had lied to me about taking an Uber for some reason. I have no idea what the hell he took a picture of or why he took it in the first place, but I can imagine it wasn't for anything good. I immediately blocked him on Tinder and was paranoid that he would return. So that's my story of a Tinder creep who groped me in my own house. Edit. I did lock the door after the first time. I think he got through my back sliding glass door. I met 2 girls from Tinder that I have no intention of ever seeing again. This takes place around the same time Tinder came out as an Android app, and I was kind of excited to give it a try. Those were the better days though. When I met this girl named Kaylee on the app, she was very quirky and outspoken. I liked that about her. But she had something about her. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I was always on the app talking to her. I would shut myself up in the room and just talk to her for hours. When Kaylee decided she wanted to meet up, I was excited and told her I'd love to. I met her in the park in the middle of downtown, and we hung out and walked around the area just talking and bullshitting. We became friends, and soon after, were dating. It took a few weeks to feel each other out and get the relationship going, but shortly after that, she had to move a little ways away. I told her I would come see her all the time, and she told me that she'll hold me to it. I never thought she could have done what she did to me, but this is how things had to be, I guess. When she got settled in, I came over, and we spent the night together. I did this for a little while here and there, and we were even talking about later moving in to some place together. I liked her idea to do so. It was such a great feeling that wouldn't ultimately last for too long. Kaylee started getting distant from me a bit after that. She would decline for me to come over on days that we had planned to, and said she had got herself a job somewhere. I'd been to the place she said she worked, and I knew she was lying. I wasn't trying to catch her in a lie. I just ate there sometimes, and have so before we even met. I called her one night when I got off of work to tell her I had got her something, and heard her phone pick up and hang up. I figured it was a glitch of some sort and called again. A guy with a rough voice answered the phone and told me to stop calling. I got on the Tinder app to message her to see if her number had been shut off, but she never answered. Confused, I went over to her house to see what was going on, and she answered telling me to go home and that we would see each other later. She told me that I had called the wrong number, though I knew it was a lie. Come to find out, the guy that answered the phone was someone she was cheating on me with, and she never told me that she wanted to end the relationship. I sent her one last text that I was officially ending our relationship and deleting her number. She replied with so many messages begging me not to, which I ignored. She cheated on me and lied about it. I wasn't going to stick around with someone that was going to do that to me. So later, I got back on Tinder to find someone else, after I finally had gotten over her and the hurt. I found a girl named Sam who was kind of on the quiet side, but she was nice. Long story short, we talked, met, and ended up together. Weeks and weeks went by, and I noticed all she wanted to do was go to the bar. Every night to her was ladies' night, and I would just be the third wheel. If I spoke up about wanting to do anything else, she'd hit me and belittle me. Sam might have been on the quiet side, but when she had a few drinks in her, she would turn into a loud and obnoxious person, and didn't even consider my feelings or anything I wanted to do. I was in a relationship with her, yes, and I did love her, but she had a problem. She would always tell me to be a man when I tried to talk to her about anything, and I finally figured out what her issue was after she backed me into the corner one night. She was a major alcoholic and had no self-control when she would drink. I'd drink with her and all that, so at least she couldn't get me on that, but the abuse was too much to handle. The last straw that broke wasn't with the alcohol problem, but with a drug problem she started. She liked to take pills. The cops knocked on my door one day, asking if she lived at my house. She had told the police that she lived there, and they wanted to search my house for drugs. I had to keep telling them that she didn't live at my house, and gave them her address because I was done with her at that point. I had been lied to before, and that hurt bad enough, but to lie to the police and try to get me involved in her drug adventures, I was not going to take. So I broke up with her, and felt like a weight had been lifted off of me. I've since found someone on Tinder that isn't crazy and isn't a cheater. She's been my girlfriend for a long time now, and I don't see an end in sight since we work well with each other. Kaylee ended up getting pregnant with the guy she cheated on me with, and he left her for someone without kids. Sam is a pillhead now, and she's gotten into the jail loop. I'm glad I didn't stick around with those girls and watch them ruin their lives. I just got told on Facebook about it. Everyone knows each other. Smaller towns are like that.